Some of that work falls to America's mayors, and we talked to four of them. Karen Freeman Wilson of Gary, Indiana, Carlos Jimenez of Miami-Dade, Florida, Ed Murray of Seattle, and Lester Taylor of East Orange, New Jersey. Tell me why a perfectly law-abiding and reasonable African-American man feels a chill when he encounters a white police officer. Why does that happen?
Look at the experiences of a 40-year-old African-American man, whether I'm wearing a suit, whether I'm wearing my Timberland boots. There's a perception in many of our communities across the country that African-Americans may be criminals. And that's something that we have to dispel across racial lines.
Let me ask you this question. These altercations with police officers that have caused this national debate, how much of this is a lack of respect for the police?
I think you have to look at not just an alleged lack of respect for police, but again, a lack of sensitivity of law enforcement with the community they serve.
I think it's too easy to say it's the fault of the police officers. I actually think it's a fault of systems and leaders who are not addressing issues and who are not sending a clear message about what is acceptable, what you can and you can't do out there.
Mayor Freeman Wilson?
I think you have to look also at the history. Certainly, there can be environments that can be created that would foster better relationships, but you have to have an understanding of the sense of hopelessness that exists in many communities where they believe that the police may be picking on them, that there may be a disconnect really in understanding. And that's what we need to improve in terms of police and community relations.
Mayor Jimenez, Miami probably has the most diverse population represented in our panel. How do you teach respect for other cultures in the police department?
Well, training, obviously, is a major component of it. In Miami, the minority is the majority, and we're a majority Hispanic community. And so when you're dealing with somebody who is not of your same race, you have to know that their experiences are different than yours. And then that is what creates, a sense of understanding, a sense of belonging, in our community.
When the protests first began in Ferguson, what you heard chanted on the street was "no jobs, no peace." That's what the issue was.
Precisely is.
So to what extent are the economies of your city?
In Seattle, a very affluent city, but 54% of African American children live in poverty. 54% compared to 5% of Caucasian children. That's huge. That kind of disconnect is where this anger is coming from.
Mayor Freeman Wilson, I think you're loaded for bear on this one. Go ahead.
If we're going to address this, because I think that the lesson has to be, what is our solution? We've got to deal with the disparities in education. We've got to deal with the poverty rates in our cities. We have to be willing to cut to the core of some deep-seated, long-standing issues if we are really going to prevent the next Ferguson throughout the country.
We have more of this interview with the mayors on our website, cbsnews.com.